And I just made a copy of the agenda from the notes, and I'll add it onto yours when I'm
Thank you.
done.
Okay. Thank you for coming. I don't anticipate that this will be a really long meeting tonight because it's kind of setting the stage for the work that we're going to do. But let's start by going around the table and making sure that everybody knows who's here and what we all do. So Jessica, do you want to start?
Hi, I'm Jessica Grissom. I'm the Chief Finance Officer for the district.
She's my new best friend.
I'm Linda Richmond. I'm a special education teacher with the district, and I'm doing my principal internship.
I'm Monica McLean. I have 2 girls at Timberlake High School.
I'm Celeste Sutton. I have a son at Lakeland Middle School and a daughter at Betty Keeper.
I'm Amy Kemp, and I have a granddaughter at Garwood.
I'm Rebecca Davis. I'm an executive assistant, and I have a 9th grader at Lakeland High School.
I have 2 kids too. They're at Lakeland Middle School.
I'm Lisa Arnold. I'm the superintendent, and I have 2 graduates of Lakeland High School, and they went K-12 through the Lakeland School District. Okay, so the scope of our work. Rebecca and I were talking about this tonight, and I anticipate that it may take us 5 meetings this year to kind of complete the scope of our work. But long-range planning, we'll have our next meeting, and then they won't meet again until we're done with our work because they're going to need this document to help guide the work that they're going to do around facilities. So they kind of go hand in hand. The strategic plan is like our 5 to 10 year visionary plan of where are we right now and where do we want to go. And it is linked into the agenda right here. And currently it has, we'll update all of this stuff, but so right now the pillars of this current strategic plan, which is more than 5 years old, one is curriculum, one is instruction, one is leadership, community relations and school climate, and facilities. So I would like to just make a proposal and see what you guys think. When I think of our community and what they are most interested in and what like the big ideas that kind of keep the district moving, I think are financial information, curriculum, school safety, facilities. Now I'm going to draw a blank on the 5th one. Curriculum, school safety, facilities, finance, and I forgot. Student achievement.
Yeah.
The most important thing, the reason we're here, student achievement. And so that was the first thing I just wanted to talk to the committee about, to see were there things that are already in there that you feel are more important than those 5 things. But if we have too many areas that we focus on, too many goals, things get lost. So it's better to have like 5 is a good number. So I just want to
Can I
chat
ask
about
a
that.
quick question?
Sure
Do we
thing.
have is there an overarching singular strategy?
For this, for the strategic.
For the district, yeah. Is there like typically it's you pick like one of 3 buckets, like experience, efficiency, and price, or
Yeah, not for a school district.
Okay.
Yeah. Our goals are tied to each of those 5 pillars, and they all help us get to our mission, and our mission is that every child is learning every day in all environments, and that's kind of that overarching kind of idea.
Okay.
But we don't have the buckets like you just mentioned with efficiency, and we could certainly consider those things as we're looking at the the pillars, the 5 pillars, and then the goals that we want to see under each of those are the things we want to attain.
Okay. I was just wondering if there was like, sometimes if you have a singular thing you're driving for, it helps guide those, makes those 5 things more obvious because
Right.
they attach into your mission and your values and your vision, and so.
Well, we've never done it that way. We can certainly talk about doing it that way.
I was just asking.
No, I'm open to, I don't think there's any one way we do it. We've just never done it that way. It's never been brought to the group, so we've never looked at it through that lens. So.
Well, just if you think from this lens of experience, like if you look at it from the experience of the parent, the child, the staff, if the strategy all focuses on the experience of it, then that helps guide your 5 things. So like
I like that.
so that's just how my brain works.
That's Rebecca's capturing all of our
I'm
notes.
trying to.
So I do like that idea of experience because we actually we went to a conference with the board chair last March, and it was all about enhancing customer experience, and it was probably more of a normal business model kind of conference, but they definitely had the education pieces there for us. But it was a different way of looking at what we do. Like, what is the experience for the parents? Do they feel welcome? Do they feel like they have a voice? Do they feel like they're part of the process? What is the experience for our students? Do they enjoy coming to school? Are we making learning engaging for them? Are they actually showing success? So we've actually been talking about that. So if we can tie that in, that's actually a really good idea.
Well, I think it ties into the mission really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned the student achievement piece, which I think is a component of the experience. Having
Right, facilities would be part of their experience. Are the facilities clean? Are they safe? Are they warm and inviting? Does it feel like an institution? Do we have enough space? All of those things.
And I certainly know from a parent standpoint, I mean, do you get communicated with the way you expect to? Do you know what you need to do in order for your child to be successful? Do you know the options that you have and the things that are available, programming that they can opt into?
Right, so when we get to curriculum, we can definitely have a piece in there about the parent. So that, I actually really like that you say it that way. Because then if that's our focus, then we get to those 5 pillars, we can address, like, for finance, how does finance enhance the experience of the kids? How does it enhance the experience of the parents? How does it enhance the experience of the staff? If we look at it through that lens, it might help us write our goals in those areas. I don't know, what do you guys think?
I think it makes sense. For me, I'm kind of a little visual and hands-on, so like the whiteboard.
Yeah, well, that's why they're there. We're going to be using them tonight.
Is kind of helpful just to brainstorm and kind of try to put it down of what that would look like, but I think it's a good idea. I like the experience from a parent's perspective. I think a lot of the feedback I've given is about my experience. So.
And personally, as an educator, I've always believed in partnering with parents, so that the parent experience is important to me. So.
Which I think is one of the values for our school district. Right? So I think that ties in good.
Okay, so let's talk about the 5 pillars that I talked about. Are you comfortable with those? So we wouldn't have leadership on there, which I'm not sure. I mean, we could tie leadership in under finance, I guess, as far as like making sure that we're staying within our budget. But
Stewards of resources.
yeah, that just seems like a weird one to me. And then the instructional part, I think, gets a little bit too much into the weeds. I don't know that the community cares as much about the instructional pedagogy that we're using as they do about the outcomes for kids, which is the student achievement part. So that part makes sense if that would be in the strategic plan. What do we want for our kids academically? And then a strong focus on facilities, I think, is important, but I don't know what you guys think.
What's the difference in between instruction and curriculum?
So curriculum is what we use.
That's what I thought, okay.
So it's the instructional piecing guide we use, it's the tools we use, it's the how do we adopt our curriculum, what kinds of things are we gonna keep out of our curriculum, all of those big overarching kinds of ideas that I think are important to our parents. The instruction, if you look at that, it has our Title I schedule for our classrooms.
Okay.
Is that something parents really care a lot about? I mean, if it's important, we could tie the curriculum and the instruction together because the curriculum supports the instruction. I just don't know how deep in the weeds we want to go with the instruction part, but.
Yeah, they kind of seem too in this, like, similar, so I don't know if they need to be their own individual, but I'm not an educator, so.
What do you think?
I don't know that they need to be separate. I would focus more on the, like you said, I don't know that it's really what we're using, but how we're doing it.
Yeah, because if you look at what's in there, it literally is the literacy plan, which we have to have as part of our continuous improvement plan. So it would be in 2 places. I don't know that we need to have it in 2 places, but that's what's in there right now.
Yeah.
Kinda sounds like it's like policy and procedure. Like one that tells you what you're supposed to do and the other one tells you how you're supposed to do it.
Right.
I would think you need both in your strategic plan.
So facilities, finance, safety, curriculum, and student achievement. We can, student achievement, student outcomes, call it whatever you want. Let's put achievement for right now. So if we're thinking about the big overarching ideas that kind of encompass the entire district and the running of it so that we're positively impacting students. Are there things that we can't capture in these 5 big ideas? We could even say curriculum/instruction if you wanted to put anything around instruction there, but I think really what we want to capture is like there's no critical race. We're all of the things that we've been talking about for the last 1.5 years. So. Okay. So one of the things, really the only other thing that we have on our agenda for tonight is under each of these ideas, we're just gonna each grab a marker and make sure that all of us go around each board. And if there's something about this topic that we feel like we need input from our community before we start writing our goals, I want to write those questions down, because what we're going to do is Rebecca's going to create for us a kind of a postcard mailer that we're going to send to every home in the district with a QR code that will link it to the survey. For example, under facilities in Lakeland, for as long as I've been here, the community has really supported small neighborhood schools. On the last levy rotation last year, we've seen it changing over the course of the last couple of times we've run levies. The support for supplemental levies is decreasing, and due in large part to the fact that we have a lot of people who have retired and have moved here and they're on fixed incomes, and that everything has gone up so much, people get scared about their taxes. And so it does cost us more money to run small neighborhood schools. So when you have 2 elementary schools of 300, you have 2 elementary principals, you have 2 administrative assistants, you have 2 school clerical people, you have 2 head custodians, you have 6 night custodians, you have, you know, all the teachers. If you had one school of 600, you could recoup some savings with staff. And if you had an elementary school of 600, I would say you would have a principal and an assistant principal, but there's a little bit of cost savings there because they're not paid at the same rate. You definitely don't have to have as many teachers because you have more teachers to kind of spread kids around. So you might have a school where you have really small class sizes, and then you have a school where you have normal class sizes. If you put them together, instead of having 4 classrooms, you might have 3, which saves you cost on teachers. So, and then you're also not heating that building and maintaining the building. So I think it might be time to ask the community, what do you want the district to look like? Do we continue to support small neighborhood schools? Because if we do, the only way we can do that is through a supplemental levy. The state does not provide the money for small neighborhood schools.
And I think somehow, some way, because there's so many people from Washington, Oregon, California that are used to the state supplementing the schools, somehow, some way we need to do some very easy, simple education about it, because sometimes if you get too big, then people just get, flustered. They're not understanding. And so I think if we end up having to do another school bond or another levy, putting some simple something out there, Facebook, mailers, I don't know, something, news, something, PSAs about how and why Idaho works for the school system versus these 3 other states that a lot of people are from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you have ideas on how to do that, we are definitely open. We sent home a lot of mailers last year around the levy, and then found out that people saw them and assumed that they were like infomercials from realtors or whatever, and instead of reading it, they just threw it in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were a lot of people who were concerned about using taxpayer dollars to do that when people weren't actually reading them. And then even parents last year said, because I sent home the monthly newsletter with information, I had a lot of parents who said, I don't have time to read what you're writing, so I don't read your emails. And then one parent said, because I did some video clips last year, and so I had one parent reach out and say, this was perfect because I didn't have to sit down and focus all of my attention on reading what you had to say, but I could be cooking and listening to your 2-minute video. So we are actually going to, whatever my message is each month, I'm going to do it. I'll have it written, but I'll also do a video clip. So but that goes to parents. I don't know, and Jackie can put it out
we're
on
actually going to
Facebook.
we've actually created a spot on our new website that's going to go live this next few weeks, where we're going to have all of those on our website as well.
And then
So
post them
our
on social
newsletter
media.
will be posted on there, so it's available to more people than just
Right,
parents.
But we have to somehow get parents, people who don't have kids in the district, to go to the website. So
Yes, that's the struggle.
right. So we'll put it on social media.
Yeah, I've seen like Rotherham Community News page. I'm sure Athol has a community news page. I'm sure Spirit Lake has a community news page. All of those, something like that, putting them on their community news pages. A link to
Yeah, that's a good idea, but not everybody uses social media. About the mailers, I do remember them. I looked at them, but I mean, you could like Lakeland hawk them out, like, put the hawk on it, and maybe somebody will be like, oh, it's not junk mail, it's from Lakeland. Like, just something like that to personalize it. might help catch people's attention that would normally just be like, oh, more junk mail.
But then we've got Timberlake too, and so then
Oh,
Mhm.
dang
you
it.
can't just use the
Sorry.
But you could do
You
half
could
of the
do
border
both.
green
Yeah.
with a hawk on it, the other border blue with a
Yeah.
'Cause you
Timberlake
don't
tag.
wanna
Then you're gonna
upset
forget a
that
lot of elementary
part of the
schools.
district.
Yeah, so we'll just do, they only care
Because
about the
we've
two
thought
high
of
schools.
that, like
Okay.
how do we draw that attention, but if you
Mhm.
just have the Lakeland logo, then that half of the community doesn't
Yeah.
feel heard, so.
That's true.
During the levies, there were commercials on my podcasts for like the Coeur d'Alene levy. I was hearing commercials during my podcasts.
Yeah, Coeur d'Alene spent almost $100,000 on their levy.
Oh.
We didn't have that much money to spend.
No, well, of course not. And I don't know how much that costs, or even how to go about asking to put a commercial during one of my podcast breaks.
Yeah, I don't know how you even get.
You geofence people in the district and then you
You
pay.
do what?
You geofence.
I thought you said you offend.
No,
Why
you.
would I
It's
offend?
a technical term where you
Too,
geo.
but-
Basically, if their phone comes within a certain parameter of the district, it picks it up, and then they get personalized ads from Spotify and Pandora and that kind of stuff.
What does that cost us to do?
It's a chunk. NIC does it. That's the only reason I know half of that lingo. I am not that smart about that. I just know what my former marketing person.
And a lot of, like you were saying, a lot of people are coming here to retire. A lot of the community and the older generations are watching PBS. So how ghastly would that be to put a blip it in a
It's
PBS?
Yeah, I don't-
Anytime you do a print or not, anytime you do anything other than print, radio, any of that media, it's a chunk because you have to pay to produce the video and then you have to pay for them to play it.
So, we can figure out how to get the I agree with you. We need to do a lot of education. And last year, part of our intention behind our cookies and conversation nights each month was to do that, just to start to educate people who are moving in. And we had like, I don't know, 10 to 20 people at each of those events. We did our first one this year 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we had 2 people here.
I was gonna be there and I had grandkid something, yeah.
Yeah. So, if we can't get people to come, then I just have to figure out how to get
Cause it was
to
well
them.
advertised, it was everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Maybe just because you had the parent advocacy meeting and then the long range planning committee, so I feel like maybe some of those parents who would have come to that already came to the other meetings.
There weren't that many parents there was only just 3 or 4 even at the, well, I don't know the advocacy, but the long range, there was like one couple who always is, I'm surprised they're not here.
They were.
Can't remember their names.
The
Yeah.
Corys.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
me, I was here. There was not a huge, you guys, you were here, but there wasn't.
I was here, yeah, and my neighbor was here.
Yeah. So, we can keep working on that, and I'm definitely open to whatever ideas. We did a podcast last year with Athol Baptist, so we could reach out to them and see if they'd let us go back and just talk about public school funding and Lakeland in particular, why small neighborhood schools cost us more money than what we get from the state, and how the supplemental levy supports those. So we could do that, and those are well listened to, and we sent the links out so people had access to them. We actually had one family that moved here from Arizona because they heard the podcast and they liked what we had to say, and they moved to Apple. So
Do all of the principals send them out? I know that's like last year, Everland. That's how I got the levy. I mean,
yeah,
I read your stuff too, but I mean, they send out monthly, so I didn't know if all the principals include all the.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the other thing that we heard from parents was, I don't have enough time in my day to read everything that comes home, so if I have to choose between reading what the teacher sends home, reading what the principal sends home, or reading what the superintendent sends home, I'm reading what the teacher sends home. So that's why we started giving it directly to the teachers at the elementary level, and they send it home through their Class Dojo links, which I helped get at least to the elementary parents, and then the principal sent it out, and I backed off on mine because that was the feedback I was getting. So I don't want to inundate people, but I do want people to be educated and have the right information. Okay, so if we were, if we put on our kind of our thinking caps a little bit to think about what kinds of questions around these 5 things would we want information from our community about before we start writing goals. And then we'll just, each of us grab a marker and go to each board and read what's already written there and then add anything that you think. And then we'll start to kind of funnel that down so it's manageable, because if we send a questionnaire or survey that's going to take them a half hour to do, nobody's going to do it. It's got to be quick. Linda, did you have a thought?
So you want us to think of a question to ask the parents,
Or just
not
or
that
the
they-
community.
Yeah.
or the community, not that what they might have.
Right.
Got you.
Yeah. So for
Okay.
example, I would write under facilities, do you support the concept of small neighborhood schools?
Yeah.
Would you define what that means in the question?
Yeah.
Because
So
a lot
that
of
way
people
they
wouldn't
don't
understand.
know.
And why it's important, because small neighborhood schools require us to run supplemental levies. The state does not fully fund our small neighborhood schools. That information would have to be in there, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Why are you asking me that question? Sure, I support small neighborhood schools, sounds like a great idea. Until you ask me to pay for it.
Well, I thought last year's levy was eye-opening. I mean, I was born and raised here and grew up all my years here, but my kids weren't in school when the state rules changed around funding schools. And so my kids came into school after it, so I had no idea from the time I was in school till the time my kids were in school that the funding rules had changed. So I was reading the thing going, that's not how it's done. No. I was like, what? And so then I had to go read it. I mean, I was researching and looking because it had changed so dramatically from when I was in school.
Yeah, we never ran levies for the longest time.
So it just, there probably even is some who have been here forever that just don't realize because they fell in that gap of when nobody in their family was in school. And living with a retiree, the newspaper might be a good option.
Yeah, we always make sure that it's in the paper. We have a lot of very conservative people who live in this community, and they don't necessarily like the Quarterly Press, so there are a lot of retired people who don't take the paper. So, and we used to have a paper in Rathdrum, which was very helpful, and we don't have that anymore.
My dad drives to the store every day.
That's nice. Yeah, so under finance, I would be interested to know at this point in time, do you feel confident that you know how the district is spending your taxpayer dollars? I think we're gonna have to ask some hard questions and be okay with some answers that maybe don't feel good. But that's the only way we're gonna get better, and if we're gonna be community oriented and customer service oriented, we have to kinda know what the needs are. And now we have this new amazing CFO who's whipping us into shape, so.
I'm just presenting the same information.
In a way that actually makes sense to my brain. I love it. Yes. So let's take like 10 minutes or so and just start jotting down ideas that we have of things that, and you can think about it even through your own lens. What would you want to know about these things? And if if we don't have a question under something, we don't need to force it. I just wanna take a minute to just start to think of it.
I don't think there is. I know Garwood is amazing. I love Debbie Johnson.
We are working on it, but I currently no.
But I think that's a good
We
question.
do have
about-
somebody that's at, that will go and bounce between
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple of
yeah.
buildings.
And I don't
but
know
each
how
one doesn't
Garwood
have its
actually
own
ended up
credit.
getting Deputy Clausen full time, other than his wife works there and his children go there, but. I love him, he's amazing.
No, still trying, moving, I'm trying to figure out.
I know, me too, maybe you just write what you wanna ask, and then they can finesse it.
This just ties in with yours.
Yeah.
Because we go.
Yeah.
No, you're good, I'm gonna just
Well,
write
I
this
don't-
way.
I started to have, like layers to my question. And so now I, now I wanna fine tune it, so I'll come back to it.
And I'm just trying to figure out how to do it. It has something to do with like, you know, all their tablets, and he homeschooled kindergarten. He went there and he was on the iReady stuff, and he failed at like with reading. He knows all the sight words, he knows, but he didn't have proper instruction on getting on that and knowing what to do, so.
Using the,
Yeah, so I'm just trying to
technology
figure out
versus.
about technology versus, I mean, kids are always on tablets, but it's just like.
That my question
So we
was
meet
really
with
badly
the
worded.
student council.
I thought I was all ready for this.
We met with them all last year.
Is that what you're
Here at the district office.
Oh,
We
no,
went through
I
all of
totally
this.
was worried about talking to us about this.
Wanting more
It's
books.
not like that.
Yeah, so maybe that's all
Technology.
something about,
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know how to state that, but I just, you know, more books versus more.
So do this.
More books versus, less.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, more books. Yeah.
That probably goes over there.
What does?
Curriculum
for
proposed.
curriculum.
In
Yeah.
some ways, and in some ways it kind of goes to both, because like I was saying, like my grandson, he was homeschooled for kindergarten, very smart, can read, knew all the sight words, never had been on a tablet, and then he gets on his Chromebook and they throw this Chromebook at him and he doesn't know how to use it, and he came out like the 11th percentile for his reading stuff. So I think it might go for both, I don't know. Because if the kids are not,
Well, all of our state tests are on technology.
Yeah, I
so
know.
that's not an option.
right. So,
Nope, see, I did that the wrong way.
but.
I'll put things on that.
And I'm like, well, good question. I have all these questions, but I don't know the answers to them. You could write your questions down, and that might help us figure out how to request. If you have questions, more than just the ISAT scores.
Right.
There are other things like, when it goes into low crime rates, ability to do productive member of society. Post-secondary. Success. That was actually the first thing that came to my mind.
Would you put employability on there? It's not everybody goes post-secondary.
Right, I'm just, that's, yeah, I'm left that wide open, so it could be military, it could be college, it could be job, workforce.
I don't know that. Don't know
That's potentially not only what you do not want your child taught, but
What do you want?
yeah, what do you want them taught? Because there's some people might want something more than just reading
For where?
words or writing writing.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
We all have those days, Linda.
Like, I was thinking of, like even, in the 5th, 6th grade type, there's, there's a teacher who speaks Spanish, and, is there a way to be able to incorporate some of that, for the 5th or 6th graders to be able to take a specialty type class or something?
Yeah.
Not 6th graders, 4th or 5th.
Hopefully it's worded that correctly.
Is that with the extra or the
I think so.
grant applications thing?
I couldn't think of any.
The,
I know, I'm struggling.
oh, not core classes, thank you. Is this where you would say are the right, is the breadth of electives that we have? Because I think that is something that,
What electives are there offered at my high school? Oh my gosh, we have so many. We have, law and order at Lakeland, so I'll talk Lakeland High School first, cause those are the ones I know best, cause that's not my girls' with. They do a law and order class, so they read about, big court cases like the O.J. Simpson case, and then they talk through the whole process of like the trial, and, they get to go down to the courthouse and they get to observe, court. Both my girls took that class, they loved it. There's a forensic science, there's all kinds of FFA. Timberlake High School has a ton of FFA classes. They have anatomy and physiology, they've got, earth science, they have lots of different kinds of math and personal finance. Louise's literature at both high schools.
Is there ROTCs that I
Not athletics, you're
Like
talking
I-
about the.
I'm talking about athletics.
Yeah, but the
Right
other.
back in 1980, but I came out of high school with my certified nursing assistant class.
That's
and
a
it's-
K-Tech, we do that.
That's a K-Tech, so if a kid, if someone was wanting to do it, then they could be going to Lakeland, but then take that kind of class as a K-Tech.
Yeah, so our kids who go to K-Tech, from both high schools, do typically 2 to 3 periods at their home high school, and then they are 2 to 3 periods a day at K-Tech on campus, and K-Tech offers, oh my gosh, there's so many. They just added an MA, so, medical assistants,
Mhm.
They have the CNA, they have, what did you say?
Dental assistant.
The dental assistant, they
Yeah,
have,
they're welding.
welding, they have diesel
That's
mechanics,
cool.
auto body, they have AutoCAD and, graphic designs, they have.
And how do the kids get from high school over there? Do they have to get themselves in, or there's bus? Oh, nice.
Yeah, some kids, parents would give permission for the kids to drive themselves, especially if they start in like high school and then they end their day at K-Tech.
Mhm.
And if they're open to drive, they'll drive, that way they can just drive straight home from here.
That's not
It doesn't
good.
have to be school to get the car to go home.
Yeah, that's not good.
So, we have lots and lots.
I know Timberlake does horticulture, and of course they're
You want
Tiger,
to know your
Tiger
kid's
TV,
safe,
we
but you
have
want
Van
stuff in
Flyer.
So like the metal shop, wood shop, pottery, and glass, interior design corner, arts, like that's not necessarily at the school.
Well, no, that stuff is.
That stuff is, okay.
Yeah, at Lakeland High School, Corey Pettit does industrial mechanics, and so that's the welding and the metal shop kind of stuff. Wood shop for Lakeland,
And they said,
those kids
we
have to
do
go
not
to,
support you guys doing that.
K-Tech to go into the woodwork. Timberlake has a wood shop. So it's some of them are school specific.
Yes,
Both schools
very
have
good.
art classes, pottery.
I like that, yeah.
Both have FCS and consumer science. Lakeland offers an international cuisine class, which I would love to take. They have team living and.
Well, my girls have taken that one. My daughter
Yes,
takes
that's right.
class. Pretty.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I don't even know they offer.
they have babies that cry and you have to actually pick them up and soothe them, and they have a little computer chip in them so the teacher can see if they get frustrated and throw the baby. You know, back in the day when I was in high school, I didn't take home ec, but I remember my friends who did had to carry around a bag of flour. Like, we now have actual babies that require attention, you have to put them in a car seat,
Wow.
they have to take them home for a weekend.
That sucks for the parents.
Yeah, it's really good for the kids though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So the CP, sorry, I don't have anything to add to those are incredible. I wanna change Well, you got it. That's a good question.
You're just having a hard time with that blue pen, aren't you? Trying to say what to write with it?
I really appreciate that you're putting the blame on the blue
The
pen.
blue pen, yeah, it's the blue pen's fault.
And not me.
I don't remember 27 years ago, that spot was bad then, so I'm like.
I thought both of the questions you wrote were good.
All of the roofs in the district are, and have warranties on them, and then, Mike has like all of the carpet on the schedule. Following the carpet right now, because we need to tackle the concrete, so we're having a facilities workshop with the board to prioritize concrete
gonna be better gutters eventually on John Brown?
Yeah, when we recite it, that'll all get fixed, and that's supposed to happen this summer. So, yes.
And then my daughter-in-law was, she did cheer with her daughter over here, so the kids were playing in the playground and stuff. And she was just also wondering, kind of concerned about the fencing.
So the state of Idaho put out a Secure Your Future safety grant for all schools, all school districts.
Mhm.
And our district got $220,000. And in order to get it, we had to apply for the money, and our application had to take into consideration, every school has had a vulnerability assessment done, and at all of our schools that have the 4-foot fences or open fences, that was a notice for us that needed to be remedied. So we got $220,000. We just got that from the state. The board approved another $70,000, and so we have a bid of about $290,000 to take care of all of the fences that don't meet that 6-foot threshold. So,
Yeah, like Garwood is just that 4-foot fence, but I don't know, somehow I feel like it's safer out there just because we're just kind of out. But yeah.
Actually, Garwood got put on lockdown when the girls were there because there was a hunter and someone called him in. He was hunting deer, but apparently he was too close to the school.
With the gun, yeah.
Yep.
We have great protocols.
Yeah.
I am really proud of our district for what we've done with safety. But yeah, so this spring and summer, that work will be done, and all of the schools will have 6-foot fences and be fully fenced. So.
This is something that I agree with you on the safety piece. My girls, we talk about the drills and stuff at the they go to the high school, but that's something for the muscle memory piece of it that they're never worried then.
Yep.
So, you know.
Yep, we had the one lockdown at Lakeland High School in January of 2020. My youngest daughter was a senior, and one of the teachers heard what sounded like gunshots, so she did exactly what she should have done and put the school in a lockdown. We have an armed guard in that building. Within 30 seconds, he was in that teacher's classroom asking, "What did you hear? What did you see?" And then he was tracking it down. Everybody was within 30 seconds. All kids were behind locked doors. And one of the things we know is that once they're behind a locked door, there's never been a school shooting in this country where an intruder has made it into a classroom with a locked door. So that's what we tell our kids. Once you're in a classroom and the door's locked, just stay there because you're good. But it ended up being a construction worker was doing a roof, nailing nails or whatever into a roof, and it sounded like a gun. But we had within 15 minutes 50 different agencies at Lakeland High School, and it was a really good practice for all of our protocols. Theirs kind of fell apart a little bit because they still don't talk to each other. Their communication is hard, so we're working through all of that. But in the incident command, none of us had ever done it before, so that kind of was an interesting learning opportunity. But the kids did fabulous. Like, we had one classroom where there wasn't a teacher in there, but the kids put themselves in the classroom, and because the doors are keyed locked, they just pulled it shut and stayed there. So we do a good job with that, making sure that everybody knows what they need to do, and they just do it, because when you are in a crisis, you have tunnel vision and you can't think. So if you don't know what you're supposed to do, you're gonna have a hard time functioning. So it's good to just have that muscle memory. It is my goal to have one armed person at every school, but they are fully funded through our supplemental levy because we don't get any money from the state for safety personnel. And even like our grant that we filled out couldn't be used for personnel costs, just safety upgrades to the buildings.
Is the school allowed to do like, I don't know, donations or something? Like, what if the community was like, we'll levy is.
Really,
I'm
that's
saying,
what-
like, if you can't pass the levy,
Yeah.
like what other options do we have?
We typically don't use donated funds for personnel.
Cause it's an ongoing cost.
Yeah, I figured that was probably the answer.
Yeah, I would tell you this board, even though the levy is what is funding our safety program now, this board is 100% in support of what we're doing, and if we lost the levy and had to reprioritize some of what we're doing, there would be a lot of things that would go away before the safety program would do. That we just don't live. I got an email today from a parent with a screenshot of a post that apparently Hamas declared tomorrow Jihad Day. So and we have Lakeland High School homecoming football game against Timberlake High School, so we made sure we have it fully covered. There will be a lot of law enforcement and people with weapons on the grounds tomorrow. So, but that's the beauty of our plan is people share information and then we pull all of our people together. So,
Yeah. I already question whether or not I was letting my kids go to school tomorrow.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
Mhm.
So he sent it and he said, I don't want to be an alarmist or a conspiracy theorist, but are we doing something
No,
about this?
sorry.
I'm glad he sent it to me. I wouldn't have known otherwise.
Oh, well, that's good to know for future.
Yeah, if you get stuff like
Okay.
that, send it my way.
I wonder where would it be under finance? I, like the other, Post Falls has gone to 4 days a week. Has Coeur d'Alene?
No, not at this
But
point.
is that something that we should put that as a question or no? Does it save the school money?
No.
Then it's stupid then, cause it
And I think
hurts
instructionally,
parents.
it's bad for kids.
Yeah.
Instructionally, and this is my own personal bias, so, and I'm one voice, but, and the community might feel something different, but when you have a 5 and a 6-year-old in school for 8 to 9 hours, 4 days a week, you're not getting good learning happening in the last 2 to 3 hours.
Right.
They're tired, their little brains are done, and it would be really hard to make sure that they had all the foundational skills they need in a 4-day work week.
It's hard on the parents too.
And we don't have, in our communities that we serve, we don't have a lot of childcare out here. Yeah, it's,
I work with several people who are in the Post Falls and they have a hard time finding a place for their elementary school kids to go on Fridays.
Especially
because
for
they
just
have
the
to work.
one day.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because they have to work, so.
right,
And it was expensive, so when they did find something, it was horribly expensive.
yeah. Yeah, and then you've got your kids who are in special education who really do need 5 days of consistent learning opportunities. So, and it doesn't save you any money.
So why are they doing it?
They did it because Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, and Lakeland, all 3 school districts, struggle to keep teachers in Idaho because they can go across the border and make $30,000 more a year as a teacher, and they've got teachers over there who make more than our principals do. When Dr. Meyer went to Sandpoint, the Central Valley superintendent position was open and the starting wage was $284,000. So we train them up and then they, after their 5th year, they go across the border. So for them, it was about keeping teachers. So they didn't reduce pay. Everybody's working 4 days instead of 5. They get to keep making the same wage, but now they work a 4-day work week instead of 5 days.
I know my nephew loves it, but, cause he's a teacher.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it's good for kids. And I don't think it would be good for our families. Unless you guys have heard from friends and neighbors that they're hoping we go that direction.
They should go to Post Falls District.
That's a lot of problems.
Uncrowd our schools and don't mess up what we like.
Yeah, so unless we think that our community actually is interested in that, I kind of hesitate to put it out there because I don't want to cause people to be panicked.
And childcare would be a major issue.
Yeah, and I think it would actually end up costing us more, because if we were to ever think about doing that, I think we would have to have our buildings open on Fridays to provide childcare for families who can't find it anywhere else, which means we're paying staff.
Didn't they do that in Post Falls too, though?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, what they,
They're open in
It's kind of like a
multiple
base.
days.
they are, but what is interesting, I talked to the superintendent there, and she said that, they were to keep their classified staff whole as far as pay goes, that they had to be scheduled, at least 2 of the Fridays, and they got to take 2 of the Fridays off, I think is what she said. But what they're finding is, so they're open for kids to come, but they're struggling because the classified staff is saying, we don't wanna work on Friday. And so they're struggling to cover the kids that are coming, so they are open, but they're not, she's having a hard time with that, yeah.
Yeah, the few people I know that tried to get their child into childcare in the district, they had limited spots, even when they did open it up. So, they couldn't cover everybody.
Yeah. So, I haven't gotten a sense from talking to people that, I mean, when people say something to me about the 4-day work week, it's always the start of that sentence is, we're not thinking about a 4-day work week, right? Not, are we thinking about it, but we are not. So that's been my experience with our community. And I just can't get past the instructional, I think is wrong. So, good for kids. So unless you guys feel really strongly, you want to put it on there.
No.
Okay. All right. So next steps is Rebecca took pictures, and we will type these up. And at the November board meeting, I will bring the questions to the board and have them take a look at them and get their feedback and see if there's something else they want to put on there that we didn't think about. And then we will work on getting that sent out after the November board meeting. So when we come back together in November, we will work on, I'll print out copies of the current strategic plan, and we'll just go page by page and start striking through the things that aren't pertinent anymore, adding in some information that might be, and just cleaning up kind of the way it looks. And then we can put our 5 pillars in there with our overarching kind of focus on the experience of the community, the students and parents.
Will that be November 9th?
Yeah.
The second Thursday?
Is today the second Thursday or the third Thursday?
Second.
It is?
Yes. That, I was never able to open that survey that was sent out on the highlights last time.
Oh.
Either we talked about it at the meeting last week too. I went back and
because
tried
you-
opening it and I don't know.
Cause you don't have the Google
I
account.
do have Google, yeah.
And you still can get
Still
it?
wasn't able
Yeah,
to,
we're
so
not
I don't know
gonna,
if that-
we're not gonna use Google
We're gonna
Forms
use the
anymore. We're
Survey
gonna do
Monkey
Survey
because
Monkey.
Okay.
it's easy for everybody.
I don't know if you think
And I
you
love
only
the
have, like,
way
2
it
responses or
collects the
something.
data too.
I like the way they collect the data.
Yeah, Survey Monkey
strategic.
is good.
Okay.
So that's how we'll send it out.
Can we add a question to the student achievement? Like, I don't
You
know
can
how
add
to
whatever
ask-
and I'll just take another picture.
Okay, I don't know how to ask my question, but as a parent, like, I guess I have a 6th grader, first time in middle school, and I'm having a really hard time, like, making sure that he's, getting his assignments done, knowing what his assignments are. I've gotten into the Skyward app and, like, try to figure it out, but it's very difficult for me as a parent of, like, does he have Google Classroom? Like, can he sign into the computer at home, or does he need to bring his laptop home? Like, I'm struggling. Like, luckily he's doing a good job and has A's, but like he had one missed assignment and took his A to an F or to a C. So I don't know like how to support him. So kind of thinking about the student achievement as a parent, like I'm not sure how.
You
to
can sign
support
into
it.
your Google Classroom from home without having, you just need your same sign in. You go to the district website, you go to Google Classroom through the student links, and you sign in. Both my kids do it because I make them show me their classrooms.
So, okay, so go to,
So,
It would be neat to have a little like tutorial.
yes.
On the
No,
website
that would be
for
super.
parents.
yeah, that would be wonderful, cause I'm sure I'm not the only mom.
It took me a
You're
long
not,
time
I've
to get
had
them
a
to
few
do that.
people ask me, but
Okay.
that would be a neat thing to add, a
Yeah.
tutorial.
I think
I'll
that
put
would
that
be
in our
wonderful.
notes.
It would, well, like, I don't wanna be giving too much away here, but even like when we sign our contracts or whatever, every year they send us a how to do it.
Yeah, we've been doing it every year.
Right.
But you only do it once a year and you forget. Thank
Right.
you for writing that down.
Is that-
Yeah.
Cause I guess to piggyback onto that, it would be, I don't know if there's like timelines for
Rebecca.
teachers to put grades in there. So like my kids don't get to do things if they have missing assignments, but the missing assignments aren't always graded depending on whether they're late work or on time work. They don't always get graded on the timeline, and so then they're like, no, I turned it in, and I'm like, but I don't know that you turned it right. And so even some of that education, so that, cause that's.
So keep that in mind when we're starting to write our action steps and our goals, because that statement can actually go in under student achievement that, like this committee, you know, one of the action steps would be that, assignments will be graded within this time period. Unless there are some,
Yeah.
you know, weird circumstances, but, yeah. We can put that kind of language in there.
Okay, and so there's not like a parent access, I would just have to have him sign in. Okay.
Do you think
Okay,
that,
that's helpful.
I was
Thank
just
you.
thinking about the one board meeting I was at, and we're talking about, a couple of them, they were talking about Alex, and I know that's at the Heights School.
We're not using it.
Are you not? Okay, so is there any I know you can't get away from AI, but is there any AI stuff happening but?
So I Ready Math will have some AI in there because
Yeah.
the kids are doing math problems and it's directing based on the concern with Alex was that Alex is actually using our students' data to build their platform. And the board was not comfortable with that, but iReady's fully built out, so.
I just didn't know
it's
whether
just
there would
another-
be any kind of questions parents might have about AI now that it's all kind of the big thing and people are all worried about it.
I just wanna make sure
I
that.
don't know what that would be under like
Um,
curriculum, or if we even
Could
need to
be
bring,
under
or if we
curriculum.
even need to bring it up.
Well, we certainly could ask it. I think it's worth asking the question. We're gonna open Pandora's box a little bit and just see what is important to our community, because this district has to serve this community, and so we can't do that if we don't really know what's on people's minds.
I mean, there's no way to get around any more of the AI's type stuff, so I don't even know what kind of a question you would ask about it on a survey. I'll just put AI question mark and then we can
Think about
brainstorm later or something.
What about, I've heard there's been, or there is a program or something that the teachers can use where they can, like if the kids are using their Chromebooks in class, they can pull up this kid's screen on their computer. Is that accurate? Okay, so we do have those.
Yep.
Do we have like programs and stuff that can block, I know they can block certain websites, but not like a.
Oh, yeah.
Our
that.
our
Okay.
filter is strong.
Is
It's
it?
very difficult even for me sometimes to go do something that's.
We had just an incident this last
Yep.
week in one of my kiddos' classes, and he was upset about it, but they were in math class, and some kid pulled up a random meme and was making fun of somebody else. I'm like, well, why do you have really access to Google in the middle of math class when?
Well, that part, like, I don't know
so
how they
it's
would,
like,
yeah.
Is there other layers we could add in there for
I don't
protection?
know, we'd have to
or-
ask that question. Google has to be open because our ELA teachers use it. I don't know if there's a way to shut it off for
For certain classes, or if the
yeah.
teacher has access.
Well, and if they're doing iReady, they're using,
Yeah, they're going through Clever
that's true, but you still have to get
to the
Clever.
internet.
Through Google, so it's
Yeah.
just kinda.
Yep, it's just a constant, and kids find a way to get around it,
Yeah.
but, yeah. Okay, so so we will kind of put this all together, take it to the board. When we see you in November, it will be before we go to the board, so, we will start working on the formatting of the new strategic plan and figuring out what we want that to look like. And then, once the board gives permission to send out the questionnaire, and I've already let them know we're gonna do it, so they're just waiting to see what we're gonna ask. Then we'll be able to get the results back, and that will help us to formulate some of the goals under these 5 pillars.
Would it be worth in that survey asking the community how they like to communicate? So that we know, like,
That would
get some
actually be a
feedback,
good-
like,
yeah.
do they like social
Mhm.
media, do they email?
Where would that go?
Just
I
like-
was-
She's just gonna put it
I'm
in
just gonna
our
put it on
question.
notes, yeah.
Bonus
And
question.
I wonder,
Just in general.
yeah, I think it would be nice to have, just maybe also a kind of a more generic question, just to get us started. Like, what is your overall, perception of, or, you know, how do you feel about Lakeland School District and the way it's serving its community?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, baby, I'm just curious because I know it's going to go out to families and potentially community. It'd be nice if we had some demographic information, like what is your relationship with the district? A
Yeah.
parent, grandparent, community member. Just be curious to see.
Yeah, and that would actually, because we've been saying for the last 10 years that 67% of our people are not connected, but I think that number's probably even bigger now, but we don't have any way of knowing until we ask the question.
Yeah.
Is that how, did you ask that question in order to come up with that percentage?
Yeah, when
prior?
we were getting ready to run a levy in 2014.
Oh, that's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's probably changed dramatically since then.
The whole
Well,
town has changed
I mean,
since then.
Rathdrum has grown
Exponentially.
like 3,000 to 4,000 people since then. We don't know how many of them came with kids and how many didn't, and that's just Rathdrum.
Right.
We serve lots of other communities,
Right.
so.
So the next time we're meeting is the second Thursday, which is the 9th, right?
I'll send out the invite after I check everybody's schedules.
Oh,
Make sure that
make
works.
sure that
Yeah.
we're all here.
And then this long range is the 30th, cause
Yes.
I don't know how many emails that, like, we're changing this and then it's canceled, I'm like, what, is it for sure, so it is the 30th, okay.
Yeah, we changed it when we met last, remember,
Yeah.
people were concerned about
Yeah.
meeting on
Yeah,
election
yeah.
night, so,
I think conferences are that night too. Does that make a difference?
on the 30th.
On the
8th and
9th.
9th, I have it marked for evening conferences.
Well, so have you gotten confirmation from your school?
No, I
So
haven't
just,
gotten- this is
just so
from the
that you,
district website.
right, just so you guys know, and I think I asked Brooke to take that off. The dates on the calendar on the district website are the dates, so we have to send to the state our calendar and show that we're doing 3 evening conferences to make up for having Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving vacation not in school. So we have to show dates on the calendar. Thank you.
Have a night.
Okay,
But
I'll
the
send
schools know that they get to choose which 3 nights they wanna do it.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a placeholder for the state so that they can see what we're doing. But as long as we get the 3, and one of them is the March SLC day that we've been doing. So there are 2 in the fall that they typically do. And actually at the high school level, they do 1 in the fall and then they do 1 like around in a second, or in the first semester, beginning of second semester. So we should probably check though with the schools and find out when they are doing conferences so that we're
Yes.
not overlapping.
I will put that in.
And if it becomes a big enough issue, cause the next week is the last week before Thanksgiving vacation, we could also look at waiting until December, because our work's not gonna take us very long. And actually, if we waited until December, we could potentially have the information back from the survey, and then we would have that to be able to start. We just tackle one at a time and start putting it together. So we'll look at the schedule for conferences. Thank you for remembering that.
I gotta go
Nope.
get my son from practice.
Okay, well, thanks for coming.
Yeah. I hope you sleep tonight.
Yeah, we'll see, I'll let you know. See you Monday.
Okay. All right, do we have everybody's emails? I can share this. So we had,
lady?
There's Katie Woodcock.
We're trying to think
The
of
late one,
small.
sorry.
Oh, that
Just
is
trying to remember the
Amy
kids'
Camp.
sport game too.
Is it K-A-T-Y?
K-A-T-I-E. Yep, there you go.
That was Amy Camp.
Amy, yeah, but I think it's Kim.
Oh, Kemsky.
Kemsky.
Yep.
I knew it was something weird. Not weird, but like not her first name.
Right.
And then
Celeste.
Celeste Sutton. And Monica. I knew McMahon. No, is it McLean?
Mhm.
Oh, I was thinking McMahon. Who else was here tonight? I'll send it to Shane and Christine, Corey. They were supposed to be here, and who else was? Oh, Cherish said she
Cherish
was.
Hanson said she'd be
Okay.
here.
I think that was all of us, right? And then Linda.
Do you have Beetlejuice?
I do. I do have Beetlejuice as my picture. It changes every month, so
You
it's
had,
October.
I mean, invite, do you want everybody that was on the invite? Or, cause you have Garabay.
Yeah, will you?
I teach
So what's
John
that?
Brown this year.
Yep, so MRS, Yvonne.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that
There she
Yep,
is.
we
her.
were doing introductions.
Jubear
I think
2000.
I introduced myself as Richmond. Did I?
I think so.
Goody 141.
Goody.
Yeah, Geo.
That's not my last name.
And Stormwatchers.
It came through as their Gmail and stuff.
That's everybody.
It does,
Okay.
because, they are
And just
still
let them know I'll
changing my
update
Oh,
the
did you
minutes
recently get married?
I did.
on there.
It takes a
They'll be
while.
updated
It
by the
does,
morning.
well, I was
Are you gonna
Richmond.
link
I've
them
been
in?
Yeah, I'm gonna link the pictures in, hopefully link the video
So,
in
it's
too,
really
good.
was my
weird.
thought.
Oh, good. And are you gonna link it into this one?
This
So you
one,
made a
yeah.
copy, so you'll put your notes in this one?
Mhm.
Yeah, it takes
As soon
a
as I
while.
clean them up, I'll
Really
transfer it,
weird
and but I thought it would be neat to link the video
I
in
don't
as well.
ever start mine. I didn't get married till I was 25, so the first time I was like, my parents signed my baby.
Mhm.
I already sent Olivia a email asking her to send me the video first thing in the morning so I could do that. I gotta get my kiddo to her golf banquet.
Fun. At 7 o'clock?
Mhm.
Thursday night?
Yeah, they're doing a dessert bar.
Oh,